lending field in terms of real estate. Some guys that are going to really take you to the next level if you get partnered with them to get in business, have a wealth of knowledge. Been doing some great quality work in Baltimore City for a great number of years, and come well recommended, highly recommended their work. So we have from Trius Lending Partners, Steve Bond and Mr. Josh Shein. We give them some applause.
All right. Love to hear that crowd.
So we thank you for coming and tuning in. And so let's just get right down to it. And Josh and Steve, you guys can kind of tag team. The questions can be for you. I'm sure you guys, we just kind of easy flow here. Just kind of, when you think about Trius, how did you guys get started?
I'll sort of jump right in quickly here, and then Steve can take over here. So I've been in the mortgage business for just about 21 years. I was doing regular mortgages, traditional sort of refis and purchases. And a few years ago, I said, you know what? I want to look at the investment side. I want to look at something that's a little more local and that has a little bit more of a repeat to it. And that's what's great about this side of the business as opposed to the regular sort of purchase and refi world that I was in for most of my career, working with guys like you, Al, over and over again. It's that repeat. You establish relationships, you build relationships, and you grow together. And that's the part I liked about it. So I reached out to Steve. We had worked together years ago and said, hey, I'd like to get into what you're doing here. And Steve had already started it. I'll let him jump in as to how he started it. And he had a great business going, and we've really grown it from there. So, Steve?
So I found an opportunity back in the early 2000s where people didn't have access to financing when they were challenged, and some of the lenders and banks weren't willing to work with them. Knowing that they had opportunity and they had character, and the industry and the real estate industry was growing, I elected to utilize my own assets to do what was then called hard money. Hard money is really nothing different than a private lender willing to take a risk based on what they underwrite, what they look at, and how secure they are with a borrower and with the property. So I found that there was plenty of opportunity for people who were challenged by the banks, but still wanted to do real estate investment. And if they had somebody who was comfortable in that environment and willing to support them, they could be extremely successful. And I was fortunate that I was able to establish a cadre of borrowers who were qualified, competent, eager, and just lacking certain things that would require different financing.
Yeah.
So today's world, hard money is really no different than private lending. It's just how you use nomenclature and words to define what it is.
Right.
And nothing could be further from the truth when you use the word hard, particularly at Trius. We don't make it hard.
Okay.
We make it easy.
Absolutely.
And now Davis and Meldon, you guys know how we lend.
Right.
So if you're a person of character and you have qualifications, we're going to look at you and we're going to look at the property. And provided that it's going to make money for you, we want to support you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we differ. My vision about making money and others about making money are not always the same.
Yeah.
But I have track record of understanding what does and what doesn't.
Right.
So I'm going to err on the side of caution and give my borrower the best advice I can from my 25 years of doing this. Consequently, our mission is for their success. Their success builds our success, as Josh said. When we started out, we were entering the marketplace and dipping our toe in the water, and now we have a substantial borrowers that are repeat and repeat and repeat, and very satisfied with our service and our speed and our ease of hard money.
And that's the key, the speed and ease, what Steve said, that's really the key for what hard money is all about. And that's where the confusion comes from, is everyone thinks what's involved, how complicated is this? How do I get into real estate? How am I gonna get the money? What do I do? We exist, our niche exists, Trius Lending exists for the speed and ease to bring a real estate investor into the fold, starting off from scratch, or a seasoned person who wants to scale and grow. Hard money allows you to do that. It gives you easy and quick access to the funds to get into it or to grow your business. And then you get into that repeat we talked about where it's just a quick phone call saying, and that's what Al does all the time, might even be a text message saying, I got another one I gotta close next week. And we're like, what's going on here, you know? But that's how the business goes.
Yes.
Contract comes over by email, text message says I gotta close in a week. The ease and speed to be able to do that allows a real estate investor like Al to be able to work quickly, efficiently, and focus on getting projects done. That's the key. When you're a real estate investor, every minute counts, time is money. A lot of real estate investors have other full-time jobs. You could argue which one's the full-time job or the part-time job, but they have some other gig, which one's the side hustle, and they gotta balance all of that. So efficiency and speed is the most important part of it. So Al and I were just talking a minute ago before we started. He's been to 3 Home Depots today. He's running around trying to finish a project. You know what he's not doing? Having to worry about his financing for the 2 deals we're closing in the next week with him.
Right.
That's the key. That's what hard money's all about. I got my financing set up. I'm working with Trius Lending Partners. Josh and Steve took care of it. I've been working with them for years. I know what I'm gonna get. I know I'm gonna get an honest, transparent answer, a quick answer. The financing's always gonna be ready at the table in time for closing. The loan docs, Al texted me yesterday, doc's good, are we on time for it? No problem. That efficiency and speed allows you to scale your business, and that's how you grow. That's the key. That's what we're here for. Help people grow together. Steve uses a great term. We're like a partner, right? Without being an actual partner, but we act like a partner. We're going to work with you like we're a partner. We all succeed together. That's the key.
Yeah, that's important. It's funny, Al has been talking about this, and many of our other guests have been talking about sort of having a relationship. That's important. So if you have a relationship, like even for us, with contractors, with wholesalers, obviously with your lenders, your financing, the relationship speaks are important because it kind of makes when you're structuring the deal, everything goes a bit smoother. Like your contractor can give you an estimate quick, so then you guys can be able to do your underwriting piece, right? Because you know what the rehab is going to cost. All of those things, man, make a lot of sense. So
biggest mistake a new person makes is thinking that it's not about relationships, it's about cost. Where can I get the cheapest money?
Right.
And we'll have these guys up. Steve has a field day with it. You're the 9th call, and I'm shopping around to get 16 other guys. There's a guy in California. I got a guy in Texas. I got a guy in Colorado. He's giving me this great rate, and I got a bank up in Utah that's going to take care of me. That's not how it's going to happen. Relationships is how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's how Steve built this business from day one. That's been the key to the success.
Every one of our clients that are repeat clients come to us, and we have our own podcast as well, as you know, and we talk, and when we bring guest speakers on who we work with, whether they're contractors or real estate agents or whatever the topic is, they all say it's relationships that make the world move smoothly.
Yeah.
And if in fact you have to penny pinch, you're in the wrong product.
Yes.
Okay? If the margins are so close, then you've made a mistake on the purchase.
Right.
As I've told Al and told everybody, I'm an old wholesale retail guy.
Right.
You make all your money on the buy.
Right.
That means if you spot a property and it's a value, you got a winner. And if you're chasing and outbidding, you have the potential for failure. Not that it's going to, but be careful when that happens.
Exactly, and to speak on that point, first of all, you guys are right. That's great information, Steve and Josh. It's all about relationships. I preach that all the time. But also, Steve, let them know, and it is easy, but it's also prerequisites, or there are things that you have to know, or the things you have to do before they can come to you guys. People have to know certain things before they can come to you and Josh and ask for money. And what are some of those things, like, if you're just a beginning investor, you want to get in the game, you want to get hard money and stuff, what are some of the things that they need to know before they come to you guys?
Well, I'll jump in and then Steve can take over. A few things I would say. One thing I would say is having someone holding your hand, working through the process. Working with someone who can help be on the lookout for you for what's going to work, what's not going to work, what's going to cause success or really hopefully prevent failure, right?
That's exactly.
So there's a lot of people out there, I know Al's an expert at this, is having that mentor-mentee relationship where someone's gonna be holding your hand through the process as you're identifying properties, as you're doing the homework on figuring out what that rehab is really gonna cost. Okay, what's a realistic number? What's a realistic time frame? So that's where a mentor-mentee relationship can be really valuable. On our side of things, the lending side, when it's time for that, when there's a contract, when there's a property identified, then we're gonna start looking at the credit, the dollars and cents, the savings that someone has, right? We like to say when you're getting into this business, you don't need a ton of money, but you do need money. And if you're trying to get into this business and start this business, and this is a business you are starting,
Yes.
getting into real estate, even if it's buying one property, is starting your own business, your own company. It may not feel like it because you don't have a retail storefront that you're gonna have people walking up to, but you're gonna have an actual property, whether it's a single family, multifamily, whatever it might be, a row in the city. That is your business, that is your property, that is your location. So you have to have some money and some skin in the game to get into it. So we tell everyone you're gonna need at least 20, generally 25,000 to get into this game. That's down payment and closing costs. That's like the minimum threshold to get into. And we work with people who sometimes don't have that money. And what they do, they continue to work with their mentor, saving, maybe doing wholesaling, finding out other ways to build up that kind of cash to be able to be financeable by us, and then come back to us when the time is ready. And then Steve, the team, underwrites, Steve digs into all the properties, meets everyone, goes through that whole process.
Yes, he does.
So the purpose of that is so that we're comfortable knowing face to face, eyeball to eyeball, who you are, you know who we are, we take enough interest in you and the property to protect ourselves and to protect you. The advantage to that is, and it happened to me 2 weeks ago, was I went to a property, I was sure that the property was a winner, the bar was okay, everything was good. I went in the house, I went in the basement, and I noticed that the wall was curving, and there was seepage. And I said, when you were here, did you call a structural engineer? Because I see this. Whoever looked at it before either missed it or didn't know what they were looking at.
Correct, exactly.
And I get there because it's with the experience and eyes on that we have and the potential of loss, which we avoid at all costs.
Yes, indeed.
I don't want to have a problem halfway down or in the middle of what we're doing. Consequently, I brought it to his attention, called a structural engineer. Unfortunately, he had to give the property up. But look how much he saved by eyes one. So we do meet face to face, look at the property. You don't always have to listen to your partner lender. It's you make decisions, you're a grown individual, and you're making a business decision. We support that completely. Doesn't mean we're gonna agree with you.
Right.
But at the end of the day is you're gonna have your money at risk, we're gonna have our money at risk, and we want everybody to be aware of the risk and the reward. And if the reward's gonna be minimized by that, you're fortunate you have somebody who cares enough not to just give you the money, take their profits and see you later.
Exactly, because we could have took a big loss on that.
100%, and so that's what's avoided with the kind of service that we offer with that hands-on, eyes-on approach. And the opposite applies as well. Steve's had situations, we've had situations where we look at the property, we look at it on paper or on our computer screens, and we're saying, this isn't gonna work. This neighborhood's not gonna work, this block's not gonna work. But inevitably what happens every time, we know the city, we do a lot of business in the city, Steve knows the city better than, I would say, just about anyone, okay, block by block, street by street, building by building. He goes, let me check it out. Let me just go look at it and see what it looks like. I got 2 other appointments or whatever I got. That's part of what Steve's doing. He's running around all day visiting properties. And inevitably go down, sometimes I'll go down and say, I was right. It's not where we want to be. I don't like the property. But I'll also go down and say, you know what? There's 6 rehabs going on within a block and a half radius.
Since the last time I visited that street, it started to gentrify.
Okay.
Well, there I am, saying no and then saying yes, as opposed to the other
Right.
example, saying yes and then saying no.
Right.
So
Right.
if you don't eyes on, if you
Right.
don't commit yourself, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. Not good for anybody. So that's the personal touch, that's how we separate ourselves from all the other guys gals, whatever, who are in this lending business. And you have choices, we all have choices. And here we're sitting with friends who feel comfortable with us and come back to us time after time. Not because we may be the cheapest one, but we're the most dependable, reliable. And what more could you ask for in a relationship?
And the key is, you talk about new people, right? New people starting, and we get the question a lot, do you work with new people? And of course we say absolutely. But it's more than work with, it's a hand holding that we do, along with the kind of mentorship that someone like Al does, that is above and beyond. It takes that stress out for a new person. Every single person, if you haven't done it before, you're saying, what am I getting into? I don't know what I'm doing here, right? I'm flying blind, but I want in, right? I got friends doing it, I got other people doing it, I read about it, I'm excited, I want to be a part of what's going on here. I want to start building my wealth. I did a Zoom with, similar to this, I was interviewing a few other people recently, and a few terms came up that made a lot of sense. One of the things that came up was, you rarely run into someone in real estate, I would argue never, who doesn't say, I wish I'd started sooner. That's always what they say. And that's what the new person's saying too, is I've been wanting to. And then they always say, what's the advice? The advice is just do it. Just do it. I'll take Nike's slogan, just do it. You gotta get off the sidelines and just do it. Well, then you say, well, what do? I don't wanna be out there in the cold. Well, you find a mentor, you find a lender like us. People are gonna hold both of your hands tightly and securely and give you the confidence and the comfort to say, we got you. We're gonna look out for it, like Steve just said, if it's bad, if it's good, if it's got a foundation issue, what have you.
And to that, they often always say, and I'm sure it happens to you, well, the market's changing and I've already missed it. And I don't want to get started now. Well, nothing could be more wrong. Why is that? Well, the stock market and real estate mirror each other in the fact that they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. You can never time either market at the top or the bottom to make those decisions. So we know that if you had a property 10 years ago, you could pick any time frame you want. You can see it vary, maybe go down, and then come up. Those who have lived through 2000, the 20 years, 25 years I've been doing this, I went through 2000 run up, 2008 run down, 2009-10 steady, and then the climb back. So if you were in at the height in 06, you were aided in 08. That same property today is worth more than it was in 06. So,
that's true.
Real estate creates generational wealth.
Yes.
They can't time it, get in it, and if you're in this marketplace, I can tell you this. I've been doing this 25 years. I am not young, but I will tell you, there's more opportunity in the Baltimore region, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, surrounding areas, than almost anywhere else in America. Why? We have a plethora of distressed properties that will gentrify ultimately when A. B, where in the world, in a major metropolitan area, can you find a starter house for $200,000 when the typical average price point in America is $360,000? Here you go, 200 grand, and you can have a nice, well-done house with interest rates even being what they are today, and have a payment cheaper than you can renting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all in this. I've been fortunate enough to be in it 25 years, seen ups to downs, lived through them all, and know in my heart, we're sitting in the catbird seat right now in Baltimore, anxious and aggressive to do more business. That's because Baltimore is Baltimore. And you love it, you hate it. It's got good, it's got bad. You can talk to me about your wife or your children. They got good and they got bad. You're in it. Welcome to Baltimore, bud.
There you go.
Okay, we own this city.
Right.
Or we don't.
One or the other. Well, that's great information. That's very knowledgeable. That's very knowledgeable, Steve. And like you say, it's all about relationships. But I want people to also know that they don't have to listen to everything you and Josh say. If they have factual information, like we getting 2 houses on the street right up here in the morning, we was just talking about it. So if Steve, like I'm just using this for example. Say if you didn't want to loan the money that we asking, which you generally always do. I don't remember you saying no.
Right.
I know I just rehabbed one and sold one for 185 on the same block. I can come back to you with that information. Well, if I get this for 50, put another 50, and I just sold one for 185, that might sway you, like you said, when they starting to gentrify the area, it might sway you. So they don't just have to take no, they can just give you factual information, you may sway.
Not only that, but when I visit your property, Hal, it's not 2 blocks up. 2 blocks up, which was closer to North Avenue, and then this one's 2 blocks below that and across from a park.
Right.
And the block is absolutely owner occupied.
Yes,
I see those things by dealing with it. On an appraisal, you can't see squat.
Right.
You either gotta be in it and know it and be convinced about it, and you said to me, oh, sometimes you tell me things that I didn't recognize and know. And if I'm not paying attention to the guy who's got skin in the game as well,
Right.
then shame on me.
But you listen. Good thing about you guys always listen.
Well, and that's the key. So in other words, the feedback we give, the hand-holding, whether it's from a mentor, whether it's from us, we come with years and years of experience, a ton of knowledge. We're not perfect. We're not always right. We do make mistakes. We learn from those mistakes. That's how we pick up and expand and get better at what we do. And we'll run into situations, I'll be honest, it doesn't happen often with Steve, but it does happen, where he goes, you know what, you're 100% right. That comp I didn't know about, that cost I wasn't aware of, that change in this market or this neighborhood or this block or whatever it is I didn't know about. That is how we learn and expand. And so we do take that feedback to Al. 100%, you're right on point to say, how do we do better? How can we work together? As Steve said, you got skin in the game. I want to hear what you have to say, and we want to work together to find mutual success for all of us. That's what it's all about.
Exactly, and you guys always want to see us succeed. You've never done anything to make me think otherwise. But I want to go back to the point, and I'll let Meldon take over. A lot of times you say a starting point, you like to see people have at least 20,000 or more, and that's true. Like you figure we doing 5 houses now, put an average of 20 to 25 down. Then you have to come up with the money to start to work with your crew. Then you have to come up with the money to buy the supplies from Home Depot. So you may need a little more than that.
Right.
However, if you know someone, I don't want people to think, oh, I'm not gonna have 20,000. I don't know how I'll get it. Well, you can partner with people. If it's people that you trust and that you know that might be liquid or might have those type of resources, then you can partner with them, form an LLC, and then come to you guys. And then if
There's money everywhere for that.
Yeah.
You can always find that. 100%.
Exactly. So there's ways people can get in it without actually having the money themselves and still utilize you guys' experience and money.
100%.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, because I mean, I know there's a lot of folks that do what you do, and I don't want you to talk bad about your competition per se, but what are you seeing in terms of trends? Because I think a lot more people are getting into, you got 25 years experience, but I know there's some newer outfits that are doing lending, right, because of how the market's growing. And so like, what are some of the pitfalls, like would you, not that you're trying to get all the business for yourself, I get that, but what would you advise, like if I'm just starting out and I'm looking at a lender, what should I be looking for?
I wish I could afford all the businesses out there, we just don't have that much money.
Right, I got you.
To do it. So I'm gonna let Josh start with that, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, I mean, when we've touched on obviously relationships and the in-person experience, I think that's really key. But I think the overall number of years of experience, if you put Steve and my experience together, just the two of us, Steve's son is a partner as well. We have a robust team with a lot of people, but just the two of us combined is like 47 years of experience. Okay. 99% of the other people out there, the other lenders out there, even the national guys and even the local people, they're new to this business. They might be number cruncher guys, they might be real estate guys, they might be finance guys, but you learn from those years of being in the field. I've looked at more appraisals and credit reports of people's income and properties than I can shake a stick at. Steve as well. I mean, literally you can't count it. That experience, you have to put the years in. What's that term? The number of hours to be an expert at something, right? Whatever that is from Malcolm Gladwell's book way back when, right? That's how you become an expert at something. So we run into and we see a lot of people and a lot of our, not a lot, but some of our clients who are calling and saying, oh, I talked to this guy in Utah, I talked to this guy who's around the corner from you guys. he started 9 months ago and he really seems like a nice guy. Yeah, he might be. But when you're in that situation and you have someone walking through the basement and telling you there might be a foundation structural issue, or telling you that, how this ground rent challenge is gonna be, or how the tax is gonna work there, or how the zoning permission is gonna work there, or we've had people who have issues. We had someone who had a collapsed wall. We knew the connections, we knew the people to get it fixed, to get it dealt with. Those kinds of disasters, those kinds of above and beyond assistance that you need experience, you need connections, you need a network to be able to do. That's really what makes all the difference. And understanding those blocks. Steve will every time he'll go, oh, I grew up around the corner from there, or I knew someone who grew up around the corner from there.
Right.
Most guys can't say that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So, let me also add to that. Everybody has different hot buttons that resonate with them and are meaningful to them. They're not the same everywhere. Lenders are like, like dates. I mean, they're out there, there's people, and they have different mentalities than we do. So to say what are the pitfalls with others, I'd rather not label those things because there are advantages to some people, disadvantages to others. But what we do is separate ourselves from, what is remarkable and gratifying to me is when I'm working with a client and they've visited a property and talking to them about it, and we start talking about other things that they've done, other lenders, and invariably they say to me, Steve, you're the only guy, you're the only company that comes out and looks at the property and does this with me. I've worked with so-and-so over there, and I've worked with so-and-so over there. Local people, okay, who have a little bit better rates than we do, than they offer that, but they don't look at the property and meet with the client. To me, that is paramount to everything because that's the foundation of a relationship, whether or not it's financial or emotional or anything else you're doing. We're building a relationship. We're not building a house, okay?
Yeah.
We from day one are committed to a relationship until you do something we don't like.
Well, that's in any relationship.
So, but everybody starts out at 100% with us.
Right.
Yes.
And it's up to you to come down.
Yeah,
Not like-
It's funny, so Al and I were just trying to put together a deal, and it was funny how the particular person was trying to shop it around, right? And it's the same thing, and they were just some newer lenders who have, I don't want to call them gimmicks, but have different kind of things, we'll give you 10% back or something.
Right.
And so, obviously, when you think about dollars at the end of the day, that's what we're in it for, to make money. So this person was trying to gravitate towards a new lender to a more, experienced one, and we were like, okay. And so, but those things happen. But that's why I was asking that question, because I know people are doing different kind of unique ways of financial structures and what have you, like what Al said, which is not all that unique, but I won't call them gimmicks, but new trends. I'll say they're trends, right? And so many of us who may be novice or just getting in will gravitate to that because it sounds good. And now with social media and all the ways people can market and advertise, it may sound better than, hey, we just want to have a relationship with you, right? And you may sound old school, no disrespect.
Yeah, I am.
But some people don't want that, right? Because there's a lot of I want to move, I want to be innovative, I want to be streamlined, I want to do it fast, and so they might not want to value the relationship as much because obviously we moved into an area where we're not as personal. Like you said, people don't go to the properties like you do, Steve. Somebody's looking at it from a Google map, you know what I mean? And they pull up the comps and they know, they pull all that stuff. I mean, you can probably find all that stuff online, so I don't have to go to the
Call an
property.
appraiser.
Yeah, call appraisers and your appraiser. And they don't have the time necessarily to do that. I mean, we find that even in wholesaling, folks don't even go look at properties now. People send us a property, we'll say, well, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms? I don't know. They don't know. And they just send us a property. Somebody emails them a property. They just send it to us and tag $5,000 on it. It's like they got money, right? And it's funny. I laugh at it because I'm digging out, and we're gonna take a break. But he gets an attitude. He gets mad. They won't do any work, man. They just gonna sit there at the computer.
We
and
feel
pass
the
stuff
same
around.
way.
Yeah,
But we feel the same because we have clients that will come send us 3-4 properties. I say, what do you think?
Yeah.
I say, what do you think? Well, I want your opinion. I'm not doing your work for
Right, you
you.
don't have time to waste, doing some
How are you gonna learn?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So look, we're gonna take a quick break, but we and do our little radio sponsor stuff. But we're gonna thank again our partners here from Trius Lending Partners, Mr. Josh Shein and Steve Bond, and I'm your co-host Meldon Dickens with Al Davis. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the second half of the Real Estate Podcast, our show today, and I'm your co-host Meldon Dickens, along with our host
Al Davis.
and we're excited about the second half of our show. We
Yes,
have
indeed.
Mr. Steve Bond and Josh Shein of Trius Lending Partners here today. But really quick, we got a shout out. Please follow us on the Real Estate Podcast on Facebook, Estate_podcast on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn and all the other social media platforms. The
Don't
Real
forget
Estate
YouTube.
Podcast. Exactly. We're on YouTube and also on Hand Radio. We'll be on Hand Radio at every Monday at 6 p.m. Every Monday at 6 p.m. Please tune in to us every Monday at 6 p.m. on the Hand Radio app, as well as all Spotify, Google, and YouTube platforms. So let's get down to business for the second half of the show, man. These guys have been just giving us a wealth of knowledge.
Extraordinary
about,
information.
Lending. Man, it's just, we got to have you back. I'm already going to say that now, so I want to commit to have you guys back.
First one's
One more
free.
too. First one's free. Can we set up a loan process for that? Can we set up a loan for the second
No
show?
problem, no
Please
problem.
come back. So, I'm going to turn it over to Al. Let Al get started. I know he wants to put some stuff on the table and talk out for our listeners.
This is what we trying. I'm excited to have you guys here. I'm just ecstatic to have you guys here. But I have so many questions because so many people, I get so many calls of people that want to get in the industry. They want to ride with me, see what I do, see how they could get started. I generally say wholesaling because that's how I started. I started wholesaling back in 1999, saved my money, then I was able to put the money down on the first property. But there's other ways you can get in also. As we spoke with earlier, you can partner with people. Or you could leverage someone else's experience and their resources to go to Steve and to go to Josh and to obtain a property. So first things first, there's certain things you have to know, and you guys can speak on this. You have to know the values of the properties that you're looking at. What's the fixed up value? You need to know how much work is gonna need, what's gonna be the rehab costs. So you're gonna have to do your numbers and back into how much profit you wanna make with that property. So before I go to Josh and Steve, I always find out the house I'm looking at, how much is it worth fixed up, how much work does it need? The HVAC, the electric, the plumbing, the roof, the windows, the floors, the cabinets, the bathrooms, and then I'll back into a number. So if it's worth 200,000 and I'm getting it for 50 and I'm putting 50,000 worth of work in it, and some miscellaneous costs like taxes, insurance, carrying costs, and things like that, and then you can see if you're going to become profitable. Then you can go to Steve and Josh and say, I have an opportunity I'd like for you guys to fund. Are those type of things you want them to look for, Josh?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, exactly what you want to be looking for and what you want to be doing. And what a lot of people end up saying to us is, how do I even figure those things out? How do I learn that stuff? I'm not an expert. I'm not a licensed realtor or a licensed mortgage or loan person. I'm new to this. What do I do? Getting some help from someone's going to be key. Having someone who can hold your hand is going to be key. A mentor, us, we're going to be able to do that. But to your point, as before you come to us, what you need to do, it's not, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's not as overwhelming as it needs to be. It doesn't need to be scary. We were joking before we came back on live here that once in a while someone will send Steve or Dave or myself a list and say, here's 15 properties. Which one you like? Which one should I buy? Are you out of your mind? You got to do some homework yourself.
Exactly.
They say, well, what do I do for the homework? It's not all that complicated and crazy. Look at the neighborhood. Look at the comps online. The internet gives us so much access and so many resources now. You can go to Zillow, you can see what's been sold there. You can check the square footage, you can check the beds and bath, okay? You can check whether it looks like a similar type of property, and that'll help give you an idea. I'm not saying you're gonna be an appraiser. I'm not saying you're gonna be a guru overnight, but you can spend enough time and resources on the internet to be able to get an idea of, do I think something in this neighborhood could sell for 200? Because if you can't prove that to yourself through a little bit of research on the internet, when you get on the phone with Steve, when you get to that point, you say, I'm under contract, I'm ready to roll, I think this is worth 200. We're looking at it, first thing we're doing is we're going online. We're going, There hasn't been anything within an 8-block radius that sold for more than $90,000 in the last 4 years. What's going on here? Oh, well, 3 miles away there is, hey, wait a second, it's gotta make sense.
Right.
And so there's a common sense side of it. And I think that's something that a lot of people overlook, is they think and feel this need to be this like guru from day one. You'll get there, be patient, it takes time. But a lot of it does come down to common sense. Do you need to gut this place from beginning to end? Do you need to expand this place? Is it livable? Is it habitable? What does it look like? If you're finding a comp on Zillow or online that's a 3,400 square foot place and yours is a 1,200 square foot row, those aren't similar properties.
Apples to apples.
So just try to use some of that common sense. We can help with that. Al, you help people with that when you're a mentor to them. So people can hold your hand with that. But again, I always like to bring it back, and I know Steve does too. Just common sense really wins the day at the end, a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
And it's amazingly easy. Don't want to overstipulate that, but the internet has created opportunities, and just by doing what we're doing today as an example, I heard what you said, check Spotify, check YouTube, check LinkedIn, check Facebook, check, and where is it? It's right here.
Yeah.
So guess what else is right there? Public record is right there.
Exactly.
You want to know what the values are there? You can find them not on multiple lists, but in transactions listed in the public record at the courthouse, what properties are sold for.
Yeah.
And it's out there for you to see. You can do your homework. You can't be lazy. You have to use your brain. And the other part of it is, the other thing that is just insulting and annoying beyond words is novices who buy houses on auctions and never see the property that they're buying. They've come in and they may have bought it at a horrific price, $60,000, but they also have $6,000 of their money as a deposit, and the auctioneer doesn't allow them to see the property. How in the world can you spend what you hope is going to be $60,000 plus rehab without having ever seen it? Now, I can't imagine anybody being more foolish than to commit to themselves $60,000, which they don't have, into something they haven't seen. So let that be a warning that you need to do your homework, no matter what. And if you can't see the property, you don't know if it's not your 33rd rehab or purchase, you're nuts.
Right.
I mean, what?
Makes sense.
I don't mean to be mean-spirited to
No,
anybody.
makes what you're saying makes
But
sense,
the truth
Steve.
be told,
Yeah.
Well,
then you say that stove is hot, you say, oh, man, you're right. I know.
Right. But the analogy you've used is, buying something sight unseen, buying something untested, buying something you haven't seen or touched. You don't want to do that in the world. Now, you'll do that on Amazon with some basic stuff. But at the end of the day, with a big purchase like this, how can you not see it? That's the thing. And there's another word that comes to, I'm just thinking as we're going through some of this stuff, and it comes up all the time. There's a misconception in real estate that some people think it's easy money and that it's easy overall. And nothing can be further from the truth. It is hard work. It is hard work. It is long hours. The successful people, you guys, okay, the people we work with, they work day and night. I get calls on a Sunday at 8 in the morning and at 8 at night, okay? Many times I've left the dinner table to do a proof of funds letter for a borrower, to look at a property, to look at it.
Thanksgiving dinner, I got a call.
And this last Sunday, Steve visited 1 or 2 properties in person going on Sunday. We're working 7 days a week, 24/7 all the time. And our successful partners, our successful investors that we're working with are working all the time. Whether they have another job or not, it is a non-stop job. That's just part of the gig. It's hard work. So when you talk about what Steve's talking about, doing the research on the property, doing the research on the comps, the prior sales, taxes, issues, etc., that takes work, it takes time. But you know what? After dinner, when the kids go to bed or whatever's happening, instead of watching 3 hours of Netflix, they're online for 3 hours doing homework on neighborhoods, blocks. They're driving around. We have a lot of clients, we say, you drive around during the day, you drive around at night, you drive around on the weekends, you drive around on a work day. What's the difference in that neighborhood? What's the difference in the blocks? It makes a difference. We're in Baltimore, we all know it. It makes a difference. Doing homework, doing the hard work, not just going blindly and saying, I got the address, I looked at the picture, it looks good, I'm ready to buy it. Are you kidding me? You gotta do more than that. That's where the hard work comes in.
I want to get back to something that you started this session on, and that was alternative sourcing to your funding other than the borrowing the money. We work often with people who have what's known as gap funders, which is something you kind of alluded to, but is a term that you didn't use.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
These are people who are your friends, family, and other people that you know that want to be in real estate, have some money but don't want to spend the time. If you're there and you have a relationship, gap funding, we accept, we care that the funds are there, that the property can cover the borrower can cover the expenses to make the profit on the money. So if they have a partner, as you said, form an LLC, or if you don't want to form an LLC, you work on one-to-one, you work in a relationship where you split the profits without necessarily doing the paperwork. But whatever it is, if you come to us and you don't have the money, but your friend Bill does, and Bill doesn't want to be on the loan.
Okay.
We have no problem with that. You can be on the loan.
Okay.
Okay, without Bill.
Wow.
But Bill's gonna use his money to make us comfortable.
Okay.
What do I mean by that? If Bill is gonna be your partner and he's gonna what he's gonna do is gonna put up the down payment, he's gonna put up the closing costs,
Okay.
and he's gonna pay the interest in advance on the property for the amount of time we agree that it's gonna take you to do it.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, you, the borrower, who it's in your name, didn't spend a dime, you wind up making 30 grand on the property, pick a number, and you and Bill split the 30 on your own. I don't care what you do.
Oh,
But
that's
we
cool.
got the money, we had the thing paid for, we know it's done, whether it's you or Bill, you're doing it, we have the money, that's called common sense underwriting. As long as we like the property and the funds are there, we can work that out.
Okay, so basically saying, if you don't have the money, you can find someone who does have the resources, let them bring the resource to the table, but I can get the loan in my name. And then I'll split the
And
profit, whatever.
to your point, how you partner with that person is up to you. Whether you form an LLC on that particular property, whether you form a relationship on a side deal, I'll give you a contract between you and me that we split the profit. However you choose to do it,
Okay,
we're okay as long as we're covered.
okay. I didn't know you guys did that. That's interesting.
We've seen those deals cut and put together every which way, right? To Steve's point, just however you want to get creative with it. We just want to help you get that deal done. That's really the key. And to your point of finding the people with money, we all know people out there, a passive investor, right? They don't want to get their hands dirty, and there's nothing wrong with that. Not everyone wants to get their hands dirty. You get your hands dirty, I know you
Yeah, I
do,
do.
right? You don't always have to.
You love it.
And you love it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
I do.
great, and that's great. But you might run into another person who's a professional, or they do another job, whatever. They don't have time, they don't have willingness, inclination, they got the money.
Right.
And so you can, I believe this, you can always find money.
Yeah.
Hard work, not gonna be easy.
Right.
You get out there, you hustle, you find the right people who say, would you be willing to put 30,000, 50,000, whatever the number is, to be my funder, to be my gap funder. Then we're gonna get on the phone with Steve, we're gonna get on the phone with Trius Lending Partners, and we're gonna say, what is the amount of money needed to get this deal done? We're gonna put on the side how we're gonna pay you back, who owns what, how the dollars and cents are gonna flow. We'll make sure that deal can get done, and that's the key.
Wow, that's extraordinary. Okay, so you guys were speaking of relationships earlier, right? Now you're saying you have people that who don't want to get their hands dirty, but they might have the resources. And then you have people that like getting their hand dirty. Do you guys use your relationships to match people up like that? Or refer people to people and let them get to know each other?
On rare occasions,
Okay.
they're not, I would say that's a challenging position for us to be in.
Yeah, 'cause if it
I
goes
don't
wrong-
want
To
you to
find the
rely
money,
on
yeah,
us.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that means
Yeah.
we have to find the money to fund it and the money to fund it.
Right.
So
yeah.
why not just give me the damn property?
Okay,
I mean, I
see.
appreciate where you're coming from, Al.
But-
And
It
also,
was just a gesture,
There's
like,
only so much,
put some people
we only have
together.
so many hours in a day.
No, you're right, Steve, you're right, Steve.
and we want to be sensitive to Steve's point on how deeply we're getting in, right? We don't want to put every single piece of the entire puzzle together for everyone. It could compromise relationships, it could compromise different people, different parties. So we still want to have a little bit of a step back in those kinds of situations to be fair and equitable to everyone.
I
But
don't
having
want Josh to be the only one working.
but having said that, we'll work closely together and work closely, I think, with the parties too. So we've run into situations where the person with the money's never done this before. The person who's getting their hands dirty, maybe they've never done it before either. Maybe it's their first deal. Maybe it's everyone's first deal.
Okay.
Many times we've been on the phone with the contractor too. Maybe with the wholesaler too. Steve's maybe in person sitting there. He's got a round table going. He's saying, here's how money's gonna work. Here's how we're gonna make this work. Getting everyone together and getting this deal done. That's the above and beyond that comes with a lender like Trius Lending Partners that I don't think you'll see and experience with a lot of other places.
I didn't know you guys got that involved.
Yeah.
I didn't know you.
Oh, yeah.
were saying
Some
put pieces
deals,
together.
some deals require that.
Yep.
We don't necessarily like and relish that, okay, truth be told, but if there's a.
That's how much we're charging, I guess.
Yeah. Now you're talking.
I got two questions for you guys, man. That's really good. I'm like Al, man. That's interesting. Got my wheels turning already.
Right.
I'm like mad scientist over here thinking some things. But so what's like your sweet spot? Like, you know, where a lot of your loans come in at in terms of, you know, I don't.
Loan to value.
Yeah, like for a lot of your potential clients. And then the other question is like commercial lending, because I know some people want to do you know, people are doing like this space we're in now. It's a mixed retail. Like you got, you know, residential upstairs, the retail in the bottom. So does that, you know, is that, are you guys getting into that? You find that coming in, and how's that work for your
I'll jump on the
portfolio?
commercial part. I'll let
Yeah.
Steve jump on some of the LTV talk. So on the commercial side, as we've expanded our business, we've got over 400 loans right now that we're holding. Okay, it's over $60 million in loans that we hold in the greater Baltimore region. We are a Baltimore lender. This is our bread and butter. This is our backyard. Steve is in the city every single day. Okay, we love the city. And
I like the squeegee guy.
and to what Steve was saying a minute ago, you know, we do believe in this city. We really do, and we're putting our money where our mouths are for real. With regards to standard fix and flips all day long, getting into commercial mixed use all day long as well. We've done strip centers. We've done small commercial, we've done sort of warehouse light industrial, okay? Multi-unit, so all those things. We just did a guy in Dundalk, he's doing storage, he's got light commercial and industrial. I mean, just different types of things. We're open-minded and flexible to all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Anything under the sun, as long as it's not an owner-occupied, we don't do any owner-occupied properties, you're gonna live in yourself. But anything that's going to be an investment property, rented out to someone, somewhere, somehow. Would we be a fit for a Target building? No, we wouldn't. But other than that kind of thing, we're good to go. Mixed use, you got a bar below, you got some rentals above. We love all those kinds of things. We love the creativity. We love the flexibility of trying to make those deals work. And it's part of, again, our belief in the entire neighborhood, the entire area, and good deals that make sense. And that's what we're always gonna look at.
One of the things I want to make clear is we only lend on commercial properties. It may be a residential home, but it's not your residential home. Consequently, it makes our lending all commercial because we're lending to a business.
Right.
We're not licensed and don't want to be licensed to owner occupied. It brings on so many other issues. We just stay out of that field. So consequently, anything that is a business is a commercial loan
I
to
got
us.
you. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, understood.
now, commercial properties,
Right.
mixed-use properties, we do all the time. Exit strategies are a little bit more stringent on mixed use, so that you're in hard money to do it, take it over. Your exit strategy then becomes more dependent on national lenders and what their requirements are, or local lenders, depending where we send you or where you go to get your long-term financing.
Okay.
We handle, as I think you know, the long-term financing as well,
Yeah.
and we actually broker those loans because I'm not putting my money out at those low rates when I can get the rates I get.
Right.
All that being said, but the point being said, okay, so we follow guidelines of large lenders who have those criteria. Okay, so we got that. So with regard to, so anything that's real estate based, And you can be owner occupied in a commercial property. For example, if you are buying an office building and you're going to have your office in there, that's not owner occupied, even
You're not
though
living there.
owner occupied is doing it, okay? So you can utilize it from the commercial side. And to get back to your other thing about loan to value. Loan to value is another lending ratio, sorry, not loan to value, lending ratios. Lending ratios have to segregate them. If we're talking about fix and hold, fix and flip rehabs, okay? One of the things we avoid is low-end properties. So even if you have, and it's not low end, that means a property that's valued at 120 and under.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I understand where, and we've had this conversation,
Yes,
and I
right.
do want to absolutely reiterate our position.
Okay.
We know that $120,000 property is extremely profitable for the owner. Because that's at retail, 120,000, because he's buying it for, as you said, 50 and putting 50 in, that makes our loan somewhere around $80,000, okay? So an $80,000 against 120 is a reasonable thing, but we don't like those properties. Why? Okay? And that's basically because the owner of that property who is buying it, wants to use our funds, is gonna make a killing. Their rent is gonna be $1,400, $1,600, $1,800 a month. They're gonna have a mortgage payment of $600, $700 a month, and that's great for them. But if I'm the lender on that property and I don't have significant equity, if something goes south, which if you're anything reasonable as a banker, as a lender, as any businessman, you don't want to be left holding the bag.
Right.
So if you don't have enough to foreclose, carry for 2 years the equity in that property to come out whole, then it's not good for the lender.
Right.
It's great for the owner, and a lot of people play in that arena.
Right.
A lot of people. There's buying and financing. That's not our sweet spot.
Right. And
That's not what we like, for the reason I just gave you.
Right.
My exposure, our downside is
right.
much greater
Yeah.
than the borrower.
Right.
So I'd rather gamble or invest
With higher value
in
property.
higher quality, if it's 120, and I'm telling you, here we get first-time homeowners out of 200,000 for a national assistance of 400,000, 360, whatever. Okay, I'm not a fan of what I call
Low end.
junk, buy in.
Well,
Not being
okay.
mean.
No, you're not being mean, but I'm gonna
Not
make the
being
difference.
mean.
Because this is one I'll back and forth
Yeah.
that Steve had.
Yeah,
I'll tell y'all
all
the
the time.
story.
And I love this guy.
I had a property on St. Anne's. I got it for 17,000. It's a single family. I say, Steve, loan me the money on
I
that.
remember that.
Al, it's not enough. Basically, not enough money to low end. So I just needed 45,000 to rehab it, which I didn't even spend that. But I sold it for 124.
Yeah.
That was a good deal for me.
For
That's
sure.
why you didn't want to touch it.
Yeah.
And we go back, come on,
For
Steve,
sure.
why? He's like, I don't want to. Come on. So, but we went somewhere else, but he referred me to somebody else. I know the guy.
You know, I love you. You know
Yeah,
that,
I love
okay?
that.
And I'll do almost anything for you, okay?
Yes.
However, I can't put my investors' money at risk that I'm responsible for, even though I know you're gonna do it.
Right.
I know you're gonna, I've worked way too many times with you, sir.
Right.
I have all the faith in the world. You tell me it's done. Just like you come to me, I tell you it's done. That's why we have the relationship.
that's true.
Our word is our bond. We come up to 100%. You said to me the other day, I'm on the hook for this. I need to do it. I said, Al, done.
Yes.
Right.
Just like that. He
Right.
says, it's my reputation. You said to
Yeah.
me. And I
My
said,
name means everything.
done.
Exactly.
So
Done.
we
Just
run it-
like that.
Yeah,
Like
you
it
did.
or
You
not
did.
like it.
That's true.
Can I do that?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did, Steve.
So we running out of time.
Well, hold
No,
on. We
no.
gotta go over those that we
But
just
no,
over.
but I just want you to, I was gonna
Yeah.
do the last
Yeah.
word, and then, I wanted to give Steve and Josh the opportunity to, shout out the information for they got your own podcast, Zoom. So I wanna make sure you get the opportunity to do that too, because some folks might wanna join into you guys. So,
But-
last question, and then let them.
Okay, and I'm gonna let them guys talk,
Yeah.
but you're right, Steve and I go back and forth, we do a lot of business, maybe 2 or 3 deals a month.
Yeah.
And the last one we just did, Barrett, you remember that one?
I do.
You're so happy, because I
Oh,
bought it in
you
Baltimore
did a
County,
good
like,
one.
you finally got out of the city and got one, right? But I got it for 110, he was happy about that. I said, give me 65, I put 65 in it, right? And then, the comps on that block was like 230 when we bought it, but his numbers still worked at 230,
Yeah.
but we ended up selling for 270. In 90 days. Like I was in and out in 90 days, so you got money back in 90 days. So that's an ideal deal that you would like to do, right?
100%, all day long,
So-
all day long,
so-
all day long.
So
And we
I
do-
like working with you guys. I mean, you guys are honest, work hard. Steve goes see all the properties. What I like most is that you guys have confidence in what I do. Of course, I've proven myself, but you guys have confidence that I'm gonna get the property done and in a proper fashion, and we do good work, and our stuff gonna sell. Like our last 4 deals set all the new comps on the block. Like I said, 230, we sold for 270. Our last 3 or 4 deals did that. But I want the people out there to know, how to reach you guys and how they can utilize you guys to help make them money in real estate. So go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, so what I would say is, our famous line is, the call's free, right? It doesn't cost anything to reach out. We love to talk to people. We love to sort of just walk people through the process. Whatever time someone has to do that, 5 minutes or 35 minutes, right? To walk through how we can help, whether you're experienced, whether you're new, whether you're somewhere in between. To your point out, even experienced, seasoned people still want another set of eyes, some other wisdom, some other advice, some other feedback, some other input on it. So we always want to encourage people, just reach out. It can't hurt, just reach out and call. TriusLending.com, TRIUS lending.com, TriusLending.com. Check us out on social media. We're all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. Our website is triuslending.com. You can see all of our social on there. We have Zooms, we have podcasts, we're starting in-person meetings too, which is going to be nice to do. We're going to start some networking events as well now that we can all start to get back in person. We're really excited to keep doing that and growing in that direction. So we love to just connect with people, build that relationship, whether it's short-term financing, which is a big specialty of ours, or the long-term side. We don't have to do all of it together. We have people call us and say, I just need to do my 30-year fixed financing, or I don't need rehab, or I can close in 45 days. No problem. We can do the 30-year fixed financing all day long. So we do it all. Anything that's financeable, that's an investment property, we can handle, and we'd love to help and work with you in any level.
Also tell them about our Zoom meetups and when they are.
Well, so we have some different dates. You got to check it out on social media. So we do a Saturday meetup, sometimes the first or second Saturday of the month. We do a Wednesday night meetup, again, usually the first few weeks of the month. So go on to those social media platforms, check out the different dates and different schedules that we have. Some in-person interviews with seasoned, experienced people like yourselves, some interviews with new people, and then really our own Zoom is really sort of how to leverage, how to use hard money, how to use long-term financing, and how the whole process works, and we get into all of that.
All right, so check it out. Remember, triuslending.com, triuslending.com. And don't forget to check us out on Hand Radio, the Real Estate Podcast. Also on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of the platforms. And certainly catch us on YouTube, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Thank you. This has been a great show.
Thank you.
Just remember, try us, you'll like us.
Try us, there you
you'll
go.
like it.
I recommend them. And don't forget, if anyone's interested or have questions about the mentoring program, go to Sky Miles, that's SKYYMYLES LLC.com, and you can read up on the mentorship program. If you got any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But thanks for listening.
Thank you, family. We appreciate you for coming out. Shout out again to the Ham Radio family, King Richard Good. Again, our guest, Steve Bond and Josh Shein. We appreciate you, Al.
Thanks.
Real estate guru, love you,
Appreciate you,
man. We'll
brother.
see you soon. Look forward to tuning in next week.
Thanks, guys.